Axel in the Streets of Rage games too as well. But I like how they included his like canonical lore into the game as well as Axel.
Yeah, I mean, like that move he just did, the kind of spinning punch. I mean, that's his special move from from
all the Dragon Rages, I think.
From Streets Rage. Yeah, I mean, that's you can play the game. That's what he does. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a new character to this game too. He wasn't in Project Cross Zone 1.
All right, with that, actually, the random winner, as I look, will be Boom Cannon. Congratulations, Boom Cannon. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to message you directly on Twitch TV chat, and just please respond back, just saying, acknowledging the fact that you are a person, not a robot. And from there, we'll continue on, and after the live stream today, I'll get your information, and we'll be able to
send Axel off to get you if you're a robot.
Robot on robot action, yes. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and we have 4 more packs of these prize packs today, so just keep watching. We're definitely gonna get those out to you. And yeah.
I know I'm slow, but you just said robot on robot action. I have to point out how wonderful that is. Robots need love too. Robots, Reploids, you know.
Sure. So Sam, could you, while I award this prize, do you want to kind of give your experience of Project Cross Zone 2, what you've done, like what your favorite characters? Yeah.
Right. So in the thing for me, especially so as a localization producer, when I play games, I'm always looking at like how you have these Japanese games in different companies and different what firms kind of approach their localizations differently. But in my time with Cross Zone, I've been really impressed with a lot of the localization decisions personally. I feel like it's really fresh. It's approached in this very open, sort of open-minded way. All the facts are kind of correct. More they obviously taken the care to research the games, and these games are really complicated to localize because you guys you have the Japanese VO in there. It's ultimately sort of a very Japanese-centric sort of thing, and it's a very hard line to walk when you're trying to mix all those things together. I know there's a lot of people think that it's some sort of easy thing, but it's really hard to make that work and and hit all the touch points that you need to hit. All while in this game you're hitting across. I mean, how many IPs are in this thing at the end of the day? Something like 20 plus or something like that. I mean, that's a lot of research that has to go into making sure that you're hitting all those points. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of if I was the localization producer on it, it's basically done exactly how I would want it done. So, yeah, it's been a very experience, from where I judge it. I like my favorite characters, obviously, especially right now since we're kind of in the thick of the Yakuza sort of stuff. I really like the Kiryu Majima combo is I can't get enough of that. Their whole setup is just
his whole way of calling him Kazi all the time.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing. It's really fun for sure. Really fun for sure.
So it's definitely one of those things where it's like there's those projects that I'm sure you've been on before where it's like you can see how the delicate nature that you need to take with all these other properties that you're basically entrusted with, that it can really has a risk point where it's you could go too stale because you're trying to appreciate things and you don't want to position a character the wrong way or anything like that. But then this one, I mean, I feel like it's pretty true to the original Japanese content while still trying to keep in mind that idea of the difference between translation and localization, which I think a lot of people don't get, where it's there's so much pop culture references that you can't just throw that in here and have people understand what it is, so you have to adapt it for a Western market.
Yeah, I mean, and also when it comes to localization, there's a whole bunch of it's not a science per se, each localizer brings their kind of own sort of kind of approach to localizing content. It's not, I mean, there's ultimately no kind of right way or wrong way. It's localization ultimately is kind of subjective, and sometimes you'll come across localization that maybe you didn't like the way they approached it, but at the same time, in this game, I think there's a lot of decisions being made where it's they're really straddling both sides, or it's bringing this sort of Bandai Namco has brought their own flavor of localization while at the same time kind of treating it the same way that a lot of the other firms who've touched these properties and worked on the English properties have approached it as well. It's really and that's not an easy thing to do. So it's really an impressive undertaking that you guys have done here with this.
No, our internal staff that was involved in localization, they've spoken to me multiple times about how, like, I mean, you'll talk about projects that you've been proud of, that you've worked on, but I mean, this one in particular, just from what we've been able to achieve with it and the level of quality that we got from it, it's something that a lot of people here are just like, no, this is something really special, and they're just proud to have it on their kind of list of achievements.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of, for sure.
All right, with that, guys, let's play 5 more minutes of the story mode. Let's and then wrap it up and switch to the next mode. But with that, with the story mode, kind of, Stephen, as you mentioned before, you kind of want to dive into that. As you said before, its society is that these gold chains kind of appear everywhere. All these mysterious forces kind of band together to find out why this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's an overarching evil that these guys are trying to discover, like, who's behind all this stuff that's going on in the world. But then also, like, it's not just clear, like, there's just, like, there's a lot of villains from different series that show up that are kind of, I guess, your mid-bosses, so to speak. So the first portion of the game, it's a lot of just kind of discovering the cast of characters, and then also being able to, like, travel to some of their worlds and stuff like that.
And some of the villains I've seen, like, there's M. Bison. There's another character I've seen that's like Sheath, I think, who has, I think, the best voice acting in the game.
That is, like, my favorite character by far. Like, so Sheath, for people who haven't had a chance to play the game yet, God, we should have had, like,
you should have some clips of that.
She's basically an agent. So this is all taking place. It starts off taking place in Japan, but she's an agent from America, and she's speaking really bad Japanese. So the way that not only, like, you can hear the audio, and, like, if you have, like, some understanding of Japanese, you can actually hear, like, okay, I see the joke that they're trying to do here. But in the way that we localized it as well, I feel like it sets that kind of mood pretty good. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's a really hard. I mean, and that's a character like that. From a localization perspective, there's so many different ways you could kind of come at that, and there's a lot of ways to honestly kind of screw it up. And but what you guys have done with on this one, I think, really is just right where it needs to be. Where she's, especially if you're a person who can kind of speak, who understands Japanese, like Steve was saying, and you're seeing the English lady against that crazy Japanese. And you can really appreciate, like, the sort of the kind of give and take that's going on between the dialogue options. It's really, really. That's one of my favorite characters as well.
Her English is my favorite. With that, I think we've done enough time with the story mode. So, if you guys are more interested in story mode, the combat, things like that, you could possibly win the game today. If not, then you can stop by your local retailer, because the game did come out last month on 19th. No, the date doesn't matter. 16th. Okay. But yeah, with that, thank you so much, guys. Prizes and
Sam show.
Look at all the energy.
Sam show.
And we'll switch over to giving some more prizes. And yeah, so with that though, so Sam, you work for Sega.
I do work for Sega.
You want to give us some little history or things you do?
Yeah.
Favorite.
So I've been working at Sega for like 5 years or so, almost 6 years, something like that, for quite a while now. And it's been nothing but a great experience. Sega is the great thing about Sega is we have so much content that spans so many eras of the gaming industry, going all the way back to basically the very beginning. And so we have lots of touch points, tons of content, different people coming in at different phases of everything. So there's just so much to know. And one of the great things I love about Sega is just, like, every day is a learning experience. I feel like I learned something, some sort of new little tidbit, some little new factoid every single day. So that's what really makes it really special. But it also makes it really challenging because because you have all the, you know how it is. The fans collectively always know more than we who are often in the position of doing it. That's just the reality of what it is. So I'm always leaning on the fans to learn and teach me new things.
Of course.
But
keeping us honest. Yeah.
And keeping us honest and whatnot. So But games like this, I think, are really great. I mean, like, for example, one of the things I recently kind of learned is, like, when I'm looking through this character list, trying to kind of familiarize myself with all the content, I come across this character, Hibana. I'm like, okay, who is this character?
Yeah.
Like, I thought I knew my characters, but nope, here's a new one. Another one pops up, so I had to kind of look up what she was all about. And
Got to pick up that Kunoichi for PlayStation 2, right?
Yeah, okay, so there was this
Yeah.
game, which, what can you do, right? It's like there's always just something really new to learn and experience with the stuff. So, but yeah, so Sega, same old. We're down there, we're doing our thing.
Sure. And with that, I know I asked you this question before, and you had a hard time, but I'll just ask him. Whatever the first thing comes to your head, what's your favorite Sega franchise?
Favorite Sega franchise. So this is really hard, and and honestly, the reason it's hard for me is because, in full disclosure, I wasn't actually like a Sega fan growing up, so I don't have this childhood
the Sega Genesis, like Sonic
need for it.
Yeah.
But my love for Sega is almost purely academic.
Okay.
But there's nothing wrong with that, because Sega, like I said, there's so much to know about. Like, if you grew up a non-Sega fan, I feel as like an adult gamer, if you go and look at it, especially now, you can look back and really appreciate, like, wow, there's some amazing stuff going on in the history of Sega. So it's really hard for me to single out a specific thing, because I can kind of distance myself and be like, this property is amazing for these reasons. This property is amazing for these reasons.
It sounds like the same answer you gave me last time, which wasn't an answer.
Well,
Yeah.
can you pick a favorite era then? So like you got like console eras, and then you've got some I guess once it went into like the package business and no consoles,
Right.
and there was different eras.
So
there.
I would say that my main love is probably, I'm a little biased because I put a lot of effort into a specific era, but my favorite era is probably like the late 80s and early 90s.
The video froze. Video froze.
You get some frozen video.
I'm not sure if the sound's going through.
Can you hear us?
Frozen here